What up, MVPs, YouTube, and the whole wide world? I'm Rico Knows, and I'm going to talk to you guys about UFC 329. This is our results show. Before we get too carried away, we got to show you the card, what we put in our bets, the decisions I made, and then I'll talk about all the fighters. So let's go over here and show you guys what the bets look like. Just so you know, if I can quote the MVPs, this night was goated. One thing you need to know about this night is it looks like there's some red here. We went 9-4 on the night. Not true. Like, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff because if you watch the video, and I tell you, oh, we're not betting on this. Like, I got to make a pick here, but we're not betting on this. So, what did we actually bet on and how did we do? We improved in every single category. Every single category went up. That includes our locks here. We're at 82.19%. We are 60-13 when I tell you a fight's a lock. But Rico, it's a minus 600. No, 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 no. It's a lock. When I tell you it's a lock, don't worry about anything. I tell you this is where you need to put your money. We get it right 82% of the time. Our leans are at 66%. It's not a bad place to be because the leans are the majority of the card. So we're picking above 2/3. I'll take it. And then our value bets, the underdogs, we went 1-1 on the night. It's still improved. It's still a rough spot to be in when you're trying to pick an underdog to win the fight. And we typically don't pick underdogs unless that we tell you, like, this is where you need to go with your money, unless we feel like Vegas got it wrong or the odds are stupid and it makes no logical sense to bet on a minus 2,500, for example, right? So there's things like that. But at the end of the day, knocked it out the park. Parlays, we only had one parlay for this card. It was Max Holloway and Luke Riley. Put it together, it gets you to minus 122 money. Feels like a solid couple units, and you would be hitting. Currently, our lock parlays are hitting at 72%. That's right, 72% on parlays. But Rico, you got to hit 100% of a parlay to get it right. You know what I'm saying? We hit 100% of a parlay 72% of the time, which is insane. Our parlays on our leans are at 58.5%. That's like a football number. So it is what it is. And then our value bet parlay is actually pretty good. When we parlay something that's worth plus money, it comes out to 47%. You're rich if you bet all these and you put a unit on all these, you're doing just fine. So I scrolled it over just so you can see here. Our locks were right on pace what we were 2 years ago. We're way better than last year, 7% ahead. Shout out to the fighters. They stopped cheating. Our leans were 3% behind last year, but we're still 3% ahead of 2 years ago. Our value bets, 3% behind this year. It is what it is. And then our totals, looking pretty good, right where we need to be. Parlays and props, we're way up. Shout out to me. Been really dialed in with the methods and the props and just getting the analysis right on the fighters. And then everything looks great down here. Rico knows best plays. When I tell you this fight's going to go a certain way and this is the best place to put your money, I am right 72.5% of the time. That is up 11% from last year. Pretty remarkable stuff. Oh, by the way, there's more of a sample size this year. I've been selecting more fights to be Rico knows best plays, and we're getting them right even more. That's a good thing for the MVPs. Shout out to you guys. So we've been making all our money. Okay, enough of that. Let's go talk about these fighters. Shout out to us. So if you didn't know, I missed the fights. I missed them with you guys, but not really. I was live streaming the main card, but I saw a lot of MVPs weren't on the Discord stage with me. So it is what it is. But those of you who did join me later in the night, thank you for being there. Shout out to you guys. You heard my analysis in the moment. But I was watching the fights. I was at a birthday party. I threw my daughter a sweet 16 birthday party down in Orlando, Florida. For the record, just so you're aware, best part I've ever been to. I didn't plan it. I just paid for it. My ex-wife planned it. That shit was banging, bro. Shout out to my daughter. Every kid invited there was ready to dance. They were on the dance floor. We must have danced 4 hours straight. I'm not exaggerating. That's how we get down. Shout out to the Ricos. But everybody, she invited over 100 kids, over 100 people. They were all there to just do what they got to do. They were dancing. I was teaching kids how to dance certain things. But all in all, what a great night. What an incredible memory. I'm so proud of my daughter. And then I get to the phone. And then I get to Paramount Plus, and we are rocking this card, bro. 9-4. Rico was 9-4. No, every bet I said, everything I said came true. I'm a mother flipping prophet up in here. It's nuts. It's nuts, bro. If you go watch the pre-fight video and you write your notes and you go watch these fights, you'll know exactly what's going down. You'll be like, holy shit, that really happened. So let's talk about the first fight of the night. First fight of the night, Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. I was very clear. Not a single dollar of my money would be going to this fight in any way, shape, or form. Not even interested, even a little bit. Number one, I don't believe in Alessandro Costa like that. I'm not going to tell you to take the minus 250 that Vegas is giving him every time we see him in the cage, or even 400. They make you pay for this guy a lot. And yes, 4 out of his last 5 wins have been by finish. He's getting it done. But what I don't like about him is he's not high volume. So the chances of you getting that knockout are very rare because he doesn't throw enough to get the knockout. Although he's been getting them, he's been fighting absolute bums. Okay, people who can just be pummeled and destroyed. And then the same thing with his submissions. He's not a world-class practitioner. So it's just really off-putting the way Vegas makes you pay for this guy. And he doesn't really have it like that. Ignore the commentary. I want you to ignore the commentary of Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan. Those are two casual dudes on shrooms. Like, they're not real. They don't know the fight game the way they think they do. And I'm saying this about a double champion. I'm saying this about a guy who's been announcing the fight game for the entirety of this organization's career, right? Or its duration. I'm letting you know that when I hear their analysis during the fights, it irks me because they're just saying all the wrong things. You'll hear them. They'll start gassing up a fighter, and then he gets knocked out 2 seconds later. And you're like, what the hell were they watching? What fight were they watching? All the time. It's favoritism. It's nonsense. I can't handle it. I can't even accept it, not even a little bit. So in this particular fight, I listened to them talk about who Alessandro Costa trains with, who's his coach, Diego Lopez, and this, that. I don't care. I think he's a low volume, very muscular guy, and Vegas is really on his side. I'm gonna stay away from it. Avoid it or fade it, but I cannot support it, add it into parlays or bet it straight across because it's just not advantageous for me. Now he's fighting Cody Durden. Cody Durden, an absolute bum, been getting washed by 4 or 5 guys in a row, then changes gyms, looks like a revitalized guy. And I say, well, his revitalization is probably worth a shot. Not my money, just a pick. I guess I'll pick him. He's a plus 200. It sounds good. It briefs well. And when he goes in the cage, he looked good. He did all the right things that fitness can do for you. Let me make that very clear. You ever been to a CrossFit gym? There are guys in the CrossFit gym in phenomenal shape. They can do 100 burpees in a row. They can do these muscle ups, and they can do all this, and they can climb a rope and jump on a box. And, oh, what's your WOD? What's your workout of the day? All that shit is cool. Put them on one basketball court, and they look like a baby giraffe. They look like Bambi. They don't know what's going on. They have no coordination. They're not a natural athlete. You put them on a football field. You throw a football to them, and they don't know what's going on. They can't catch it. They'll pick it up off the ground, and then they want to throw it back to you, and you go, are you fucking ambidextrous? Did you throw it with the wrong arm? Why do you throw like that? You've seen these people. No coordination, no athletic ability whatsoever. So while you get in shape, you're still that nerd. You're still that unathletic person. It just so happens you have a hobby that got you in cardiovascular fitness. It got you some muscle strength and endurance, but you're still not a gangster. And I'm talking about Cody Durden here. He's still dog shit. Like, he's still hot dog water. He's still terrible. He's been getting pummeled by a lot of people. I told you he's got a schnoz. He's got this nose that you just love to hit. He doesn't have it like that. So while he's in shape and he found the right gym and the right coach to maximize his fitness level, he can't change his stripes. That motherfucker's still a zebra. He's not a lion. He's a zebra. He can grow his hair out all he wants. He doesn't have a mane. I hope you get what I'm saying. So Cody Durden went out there and did exactly what Cody Durden does, which is lose. And he can't find a way to win when it really matters. Now, I don't like either one of these fighters when it comes to their prowess of picking fighters. Like, these are not the guys I'm going to put money on. So congratulations to them. Next fight, Zach Reese versus Ryan Gandra. I told you the same thing I'm going to always tell you guys, is we haven't seen enough from Ryan Gandra to know who he is, what he is. Can he grapple? Yes or no? I don't know. Does he have cardio? I don't know. Every time I see him in the cage, he's winning in an instant. He's knocking people out. Does he hit hard? Apparently. I know he's a gangster. And he just won in a minute. I predicted him to win by knockout pre-fight. And I told you Zachary Reese over here is going to get knocked out. Because Zach Reese is a jiu-jitsu nerd with the nickname Savage. Don't get confused. Don't think he's tough. Anytime he sticks his tongue out and starts yelling and screaming, this is that fake tough guy. That loud, fake tough guy. This is a guy riding a Harley right now and is convinced whatever the fuck he's wearing is making him tough. And no, it's not. You can still take his lunch money and punk him. Dude can't do a jumping jack. Like, that's real. Zach Reese is 6'4", and he's mean, and no, he's not. He's 6'4" and doesn't understand spacing, angles, and how to maintain his distance and utilize his length and strength for what he's trying to do. So at that point, I got to tell you guys, we're all in on Gandra, right? So congratulations, MVPs. If you bet this one, you should have by knockout. I tried to look it up for double chance. I knew it wouldn't be a submission, and Gandra went out there and punked him and took his lunch money. I'm with it. So shout out to him. Congratulations. Shout out to the MVPs. What do I know about Zach Reese? Fake as a $3 bill. I told you guys this before the fight. I told you that while I want to tell you I don't know anything about Gandra, what I do know is Zachary Reese ain't it. Zachary Reese is not the dude to believe in, all right? Next fight, Farid Basharat and John Garza. I didn't make a video on it. I didn't talk to you about it because it was a last-minute addition. I saw some MVPs ask me on the Discord stage, hey, Rico, can you please make a video and give us an update? And I just said, no, it's a debut. We'll leave it alone. What did I see in this fight? Man, Garza looked decent. He looked like he put up a fight. I was really shocked by the 30-27 score. I didn't think it was a 30-27 watching it. Now, I was driving when I watched this fight, but I still didn't think it was 30-27. With that being said, remember Farid Basharat is 16-0, and he's very careful, and he adapts in the moment. He respects your coin. He's defensively responsible. And if you want to fade him to get his first loss of his career, just pick an established fighter to do it. I wouldn't take a wild stab at a debut kind of guy. I'm just not interested in it. On the other side, John Garza over here, if he gets a fight against an early prelim guy, we probably got to back him. He's got a little bit of dog to him. He went the distance with Farid Basharat. How many people go the distance in their debut with an elite fighter, with an undefeated elite fighter? Not many people do. So I like the Garza kid. He just, what are we going to do? It was a good showing in your debut. What I don't like, and never forget this, I don't like if your claim to fame is a loss. So careful with that. A lot of people love to do this. This guy looked good in this loss. He looked really tough doing it. If your greatest achievement in life is you looked good while losing, no thanks. I'd much rather hear about you winning, not that you went 3 rounds with the champ and didn't get knocked out. Please tell me when you did it and you imposed your will on another person. That's when I will back you financially or put you as a lock on my card, okay? So at the end of the day, we learned something about Garza. He has a little bit of dog to him. He was competitive and competent, and he showed up prepared. And on the other side, Farid Basharat, there's a ceiling to him. He's not very dangerous. He's smart. His fight IQ's all over the tape. But he's not dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You could fight Basharat and probably be ready to fight 3 months later because you're not dealing with any injuries. You don't have an orbital bone crushed. You don't have anything broken on you. You can still continue to go and scrap and earn your paycheck. So just be careful. These are guys that I'm not really interested in, or at least Basharat. I was going to say the Basharat brothers, but I think one of them got cut. So it's just not somebody I'm too interested in financially, unless I see him fighting somebody I think can beat him, and I'll fade him for his first loss. I'll predict his first loss ever when it comes. But it can't be a fighter on short notice in a debut. I could never get down with that. So I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know there. All right, next fight. What up? What up? First time I'm watching this shit. I'm driving, bro. I'm driving. Got my pops in the passenger seat. I'm driving, and the fight starts. And all I hear from the announcers is Cesar Almeida, world champion kickboxer, world class, this, that. He trains with so-and-so, and he's there. And I told my dad, I'm like, that guy, there's nothing world class about him. I don't know why they keep mentioning this every time they see him in the cage. Every time he's coming out the tunnel, every time I see him in the cage, I got to hear about a 38-year-old who has 9 professional fights in the UFC. Maybe this was his 10th one. He won't remember it. I hope you do. Like, what is this? I don't even understand why they do this. What's his name? Joe Rogan does it all the time. Cormier does it all the time. Even if they reach out to Dean Thomas, everybody's talking about this Cesar Almeida is a professional and he's the world's greatest striker, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, I've watched this guy fight 4 or 5 times now. And not once when I'm watching him do I think that's world-class pedigree. Not once. Not once. And not his defensive posture, his stance, his foot movement. Oh, I love the way he strikes and he moves this way. What are you talking about? I'm watching this shit. This guy lied on his resume. He lied on his resume, bro. You better not tell me you can type 60 words a minute and then you get to work and you're pecking with one fucking finger. I see these guys. Oh, let me write up. I was watching First 48, and this guy was typing up a search warrant. And they go, oh, he's the fastest typist we got. He'll type up the search warrant really fast. And then he sat down and he went, what is he doing? What's wrong with all your other fucking fingers, bro? Have you ever seen me type? I don't like people who lie on their resume. It's crazy. It's absolutely absurd. Cesar Almeida lied on his resume. That dude's not a real fighter. I don't believe in him at all. And the Vegas odds are great. I'll take them. Damian Panas, we got to be careful. Still very young, very inexperienced, and I didn't see him throw any punches with bad intentions. He knocked out Cesar Almeida with just a straight. Was it a cross or a jab? I think it was just a jab, but it was just a straight hard jab, and he just fucking rocked him. It was nothing too great, and he didn't follow it up with a combo. He didn't have a killer instinct. He showed mercy. He put it up, and then he just looked at the ref, and then he stopped. I don't like that. Oh, look at the sportsmanship. No. Fucking go, bro. Swing. Be a killer. Be a meat eater up in there. Be a carnivore. Oh, Rico, they respect me. No, I respect you too, buddy. And I respect my paycheck, and I respect everything that's expected of me. I want a bonus. I want to take your teeth with me as a trophy. I didn't like Damian Panas for a couple reasons. He tells us he has more to show. Well, then why didn't you show it? I don't see any combos. I don't like that. You become a one-punch knockout artist and you fall in love with your power. I don't think there's a ton of cardio there. He has so much muscle mass. I think it'll build lactic acid, and he doesn't have the cardio that we need for him to implement his will. He also doesn't have that game plan in him. But he's a very explosive athlete. He's a vicious striker. I wish he was getting easier opponents initially. Like, I wish it wasn't going towards some of the more ranked guys or better guys. Like, they're elevating him a bit fast, and they're just blood hungry. Like Dana White and them, they just want to see nothing but knockouts on the card. So anybody with knockout power is getting pushed forward against better fighters. And this is a guy who's only fought twice, and he's starting, I think he's on a trajectory to get a really good fighter, and I think he'll get starched. I think he'll get worked. He'll get drowned. Now he's young, dumb, and full of right? He's very muscular. He's very explosive, and we still haven't tapped into how strong he is. Like, I don't know, and you can watch him. And for him to knock somebody out with just that, either Almeida's 38 and sucks, and he does, or Damian Panas hits harder than we could ever imagine. We got to be careful with that. I'm glad I got it right. I was 100% dialed in on who Cesar Almeida is. And UFC, Vegas, both of them, they have no clue what they're talking about when they talk about Cesar Almeida. It's like they can't take off. I was watching top 10 quarterback rankings from the Big Ten, and they put Bryce Underwood on that fucking list. And did you not watch the games last year? They don't care. They got to rank these kids. Nico, Imaliva. They put these guys in their top 10 on their list, and it's nuts. How are they ranked ahead of Anthony Colandrea? Do we just not watch football game on Saturday? It's because of where they ranked them initially. It's because of their assessment of them before the season, and they're sticking with it every single time because they have to get their rankings right. So when you hear the UFC call Cesar Almeida a professional kickboxer, world champion, they have to keep stressing it over and over and over because they have to get it right. That's what they keep labeling him as. That's how they're selling him, and they're wrong every time. This dude is a pacifist. This guy's not real. I wouldn't want to go to war with this guy. He couldn't have my back. He's got a lot of quit in him. Straight pussy, bro. Straight pussy. I don't like him. Next fight. Yet another one where I told you I wasn't necessarily going to bet on this, but I knew I was right. This is Tracy Cortez, a grappler who's been training a lot in striking and now has fallen in love with her ability to strike, and that's cool, but you're not going to beat those world-class strikers who've been doing it their whole lives. Wayne Kong's been striking since she came out the womb. They put her in Chinese striking at 4 years old. I don't know what they did, but she's an amazing striker, and I knew this was happening. I knew this was going to happen right away. I said, hey, Wayne Kong, she can stop the takedowns. She's athletic enough to stop them, and it doesn't matter. If they're on their feet and you want to exchange, you're going to get pieced up, and it's going to look silly because you don't belong in there with the world-class striker. You don't have it. And Tracy Cortez, she has no one to blame but herself. She threw 158 strikes. She should have never been at distance or in any type of range to throw 158 strikes in this fight. If she wanted to win this fight, she had to have 50 strikes landed and 2 takedowns with 9 minutes of control time. That's the only way she was going to win this fight. And she had no chance to implement her will. She wasn't athletic enough to get the takedown, and then her tires got flattened in a hurry. This Wayne Kong, kick and move, kick and move, kick and move, stick and move, stick and move. But the combos are legit. The tenacity is real. The athleticism is real. Shout out to her. Now, the problem with Wayne Kong is she's on a path to go fight only the elite fighters. And she has a hole in her game. She doesn't have any grappling. So these elite fighters have all that. You got to be careful with that. I don't know where we go from here. But in this particular case, in this particular fight, I wasn't believing in Trace Cortez at all. Not even a little bit. I think that it's fool's gold. You think you pretend you're a striker, and then you get in that striker's world and you're not a striker. She sees her Almeida, but the female version. Next fight. Kai Kamaka versus Luke Riley, my lock of all locks. I told you guys this was my favorite bet on the fight card. This is where I would put all my money. I talked about Luke Riley being an Audi. I think I called him an Audi, maybe an Infiniti. He has a lot of potential. He's a luxury car. And Kai Kamaka's a Corolla. Kai Kamaka's not good. Kai Kamaka is a guy who's been in the UFC before, failed out and got cut, went to the regional scene, won again, and then he shows back up, but he's still a C-minus student. There's nothing remarkable about Kai Kamaka. He just doesn't bring it to the table the way you think. So you can beat Kai Kamaka. The other thing I don't like is Kai Kamaka, one of his best weapons is his presence. He will stand in front of you, and he will force you to put your hands up in response to his presence. So you have to defend yourself because he's going to feint. He's going to be in front of your face. What's he not doing, though? He's not throwing bad intentions. He's not really putting the volume out there. It's just, I stand in front of your face, and I hope you get tired from me standing here. And you can't do that against somebody like Luke Riley, who's too athletic and too explosive. And if there's no threat for takedowns and there's no grappling, now we're just in a boxing match. And apparently Luke Riley couldn't really throw combos. So Luke Riley snowballing on this guy, throwing hard. The left hooks were everywhere and just kept piecing him up. And some can argue it was an early stoppage. But Kai Kamaka was doing nothing in response to getting pummeled other than trying to move his head out of the way. And he was doing it pretty decent, but he was still getting just absolutely pummeled. It was an early stoppage, but the result would have been the same. Luke Riley was going to eventually just massacre this dude. Probably save Kai Kamaka from going to sleep in front of everybody. That's it. Luke Riley, it was a lock. I believed in him. I told you to take him by points or knockout. I tried to double chance it on the video. It wasn't posted at the time. I hope a lot of MVPs hit on this. I'm sure they did because he was also on the lock parlay. So shout out to Luke Riley. Easy call. Believe in him wholeheartedly. Next fight, Cody Garbrandt and Adrian Yanez. Cody Garbrandt's fake. He's got no love, no glove, no shove. This guy's not real. I told you he's going to come out, try to strike. He's going to throw some combos and look clean and look fancy, and then he's not. And then it's going to be gone. The problem with Cody Garbrandt is he has a skill set. He's a very skilled boxer. He can strike. But he didn't have a chin to be a striker. He didn't have a chin to be a boxer. So now what do? It's silly. Right? If you don't have a chin to be a striker, you can't strike. Because the other guy's going to eventually hit you. Land on your chin, it'll be over. And that's exactly what happened. Cody Garbrandt, to start this fight, rushed Adrian Yanez, came right out the gate, very aggressive. And then he stayed out of range, and then he jumped into range. One of the most craziest things you can do is jump into range. Out of range, jump in. Brrr, jump out. Jump in. Brrr, jump. And when you're jumping in, what do you think happens? You get caught. And he got caught, smacked, and put to sleep real quick. Just sat down, doing the stanky leg, the whole deal. And Adrian Yanez, he got on the mic after the fight, and he got a little bit too bold. And what I'm saying is, these wins aren't as good as you think they are. Like he said, hey, I just beat a striker and a former world champ. Everybody's beat Cody Garbrandt. Everybody. This is not an impressive win for me. For Yanez, these odds are stupid. He was the second largest favorite on the card. And you can't do that. This Yanez guy has beat two really flawed opponents. And he started saying he's going to be ranked. He's the guy. He's this, that. I like Adrian Yanez. I think he's tough. But he's not an exceptional striker. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power. He's fighting people with flaws. So I would be very careful before believing in Yanez like that. I'm not interested in him like that. Congratulations. We picked him to win the fight. We knew he'd win the fight. But I'm not interested in parlaying him at minus 400 in fights. Like, that just doesn't work for me. So I'm good on that. I'm good. Shout out to this fight. Got it right 100%. Moving on to the next fight. Gable Steveson and Elisha Ellison. Gable Steveson, I was thoroughly impressed with how he looked. This is a heavyweight. I know that he's a former Olympic gold medalist. He is a former national championship wrestler. He has genuine explosion. But sometimes I get asked, like, hey, Rico, I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. I'm an offensive lineman. Why am I not D1? Like, you reviewed somebody else's tape and you said they're D1. I'm the same metrics. Why am I not D1? And my one word response to them would be physicality. Like physicality. I want to say athleticism, your feet, things like this, but reality is physicality. You're not a meat eater. You're just a big soft teddy bear. And you've been nice to everybody who's smaller than you. So now you get on the football field and try to turn it on, and you're not built like that. Not mentally, not physically. So that's why you're not a D1 athlete. The other guy, he's taking lunch money. And when I look at Gable Steveson, I believe he's one of the most vicious people I've seen fight. I think he could beat Hokit. I think he could beat a lot of heavyweights. The reason is he's an exceptional athlete. He's going to get better in his cardio. He's going to get better at understanding when to exert his energy and when not to. But the striking that he has a certain nastiness to him where he was throwing shit just mean. And you could tell it moved with velocity. He swung the way I would swing. And a lot of people don't swing like that. He swung with bad intentions. And then you have Elijah Ellison falling to the floor. And Gable Steveson it's not his job to show you mercy. It's not his job to worry about whether or not you're injured. I don't want to hear about sportsmanship. Gable Steveson said, hey, ref, do your fucking job. And he starts just teeing off on this guy and has the most beautiful right hand as he's falling to the ground. And he goes after it. And that, to me, like, that gets me bricked up, bro. Like, that's it right there. That dude's intense. I like Gable Steveson. I'm a huge fan from what I saw. I saw a tremendous fighter, a very, very skilled athlete. And I loved his interview at the end of the fight. I loved his mindset. They asked him, where are you planning to go with this? What are you planning to do? And all he said was, I'm an exceptional athlete. I'm going to keep training and see where this takes me. And that not only is that humble, but it's likable. And I like him. I like him a lot. So shout out to Steveson. I rock with him. Elijah Ellison. Fake. Not real. Although he was a little. Oh, let me get back to this real quick. The odds on this fight were minus 2,500 on some books, 2,800 on some books. Are you out of your flipping mind? He is fighting another human being with 10 fingers and 10 toes. There is no way you should be a minus 2,500 favorite against another UFC caliber heavyweight. No way. That guy had a chance to knock him out. That guy had a chance to land strikes. He threw elbows just fine. He was doing everything he can. Every heavyweight has a puncher's chance to knock someone out. Those odds are stupid. Never, ever even remotely think about a minus 2,000 fighter. Not even a little bit. Even if I love him. That doesn't mean I can do anything with that. Okay? Shout out to Steveson. He won by knockout. Next fight. I'm the man. I saw them online, guys. Those YouTubers, all those nerds who sit and talk fighting. Yeah, if you're watching this video, yeah, I'm talking about your bum asses. I watched them. They're all free. You can go click on all of them. Just go search like UFC predictions on YouTube. You can see them all, bro. And you'll hear them. They'll talk fighting. They'll talk everything they're saying. It ain't going to sound like me. You know why they're not going to sound like me? Because they're not right. That's why they're not going to sound like me. They're not right. They use a lot of fight jargon. They try to convince you they know the fight game and all this. And I just look at them and I just go, ugh, what a fucking gross assessment. So here we have Nikita Krylov versus Robert Whittaker. He's moving up to 205. And everybody says the same thing over and over and over. He's too small. You've got Krylov over here, going to just smother him, demolish him. This will be an easy win. We've got a physical disparity here. Okay. What did I do? I went and watched my results video of when Nikita Krylov beat Bukauskas. And the results videos are free. And I sat there in the results video of Nikita Krylov beating Bukauskas, and I said, Bukauskas is a bum with no cardio. He's on a 4-fight winning streak, and he comes out here and he lays a fucking egg. He looked terrible. I said, oh, by the way, Krylov beat him, but he's terrible. He's one of the worst. He looked terrible. He did not look good. So he's just the best blob of all the blobs. Can't believe in him at all. If we see him in the cage again, we're fading him. That's what I said in the results show. So when you get to a fight like this and everybody starts telling you Krylov is going to ransack and roll over Robert Whittaker, I'm like, in what world? Robert Whittaker is one of the baddest motherfuckers at 185. He's one of the baddest dudes on the planet Earth. And you think he's coming up to 205 and somebody's going to just take his lunch money because they're taller than him? Because they weigh more than... Well, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? He doesn't have the mentality. He doesn't have the athleticism. Bobby Knuckles can roll. He can do all kinds of shit. Now, how does the fight start? Like all them idiots talked about. All them YouTubers, and they're all coping today. They're all coping. They're doing their results shows, and I'm sure they're making excuses 100 times over, every which way, on why they missed. Oh, Nikita Krylov, he didn't have enough heart to keep fighting the way he was. You know, he had the right game plan the first time. Man, you picked a bum. Own it. Wear that T-shirt every day and twice on Sunday. That's your problem. Stop picking people who don't respect your coin. Stop picking people who aren't on this level. Robert Edwards. Shout out to Robert Edwards. The great Robert Edwards and his knee on the sand. Robert Whittaker here looked sluggish. He looked overweight. It was a problem. He looked, as Joe Rogan said, he looked soft. And Joe Rogan's punk ass is talking shit about Robert Whittaker the whole fight and saying he's losing this fight. He's soft. He's out of shape. Look how hard he's breathing. And even in the interview after the fight, Joe Rogan's like, so what was the difference now that you're fighting at 205? He wanted him to say he's tired. He wanted him to say he was out of shape. Robert Whittaker did not bite. And Joe Rogan asked the question 2 different ways for him to say, oh, I'm not there. Now, I'm going to tell you Robert Whittaker did not look in the cardiovascular shape I expected, but that's because Krylov was hanging on him for the first round. And if somebody grapples you and pummels with you, clinches with you against the cage in the first round, you're going to be exhausted. It's a very physically taxing drill. It's a taxing fight position, if you will. So Robert Whittaker lost some sting on his punches. But he still broke that man's jaw. That man got hit in the jaw, and he went, yeah, you got me. And he just turned away. He got his jaw broken. Robert Whittaker is an accumulation of strikes guy. He's not a one-punch knockout artist. Even at 205 of him getting stronger, he doesn't have that ability to put people to sleep, but he can get an accumulation of strikes going, and it can sting you a little bit. It's going to frustrate you because he doesn't quite go pedal to the metal. He doesn't quite swing as hard as he can. He's still very cautious. Have you heard him after the fight? He talked about how he was fighting scared because he was under the impression guys who fight at 205, every strike is going to knock you out. So he was fighting very defensive and wanted to make sure he didn't get knocked out. He's heard rumors, hey, those guys at 205, they throw heat. They're going to knock you out. Every strike is going to hurt. And then he said, no, every strike didn't hurt. These 205, it didn't feel any different. After a while, he realized, oh, no, this is not it. I can fight too. I can punch. And he goes, hey, and I hit really hard for a 205. So I think there's some confidence concerns there. There's obviously some fitness concerns and maybe commitment to the fight game at this advanced age where he might be just kind of riding it out. He said he's going to be here from now on, but careful. Robert Whittaker's fighting a ranked washed guy who doesn't hit very hard, doesn't have the power to finish fights, and then doesn't have the cardio to finish fights, doesn't have the heart to stay in the fight. So you got to be careful. We might get an elevated expectation from Robert Whittaker off this win, and I don't think it's quite like that. I'm glad I got it right. I believed in him. I knew his speed would be pivotal. It's always been great, his hand speed. But I didn't feel too good about it. I'm glad I got it right, but I didn't feel too good about it. I want to make that very clear. So just be careful. We see Robert Whittaker again. He's obviously going to fight somebody better. He's moving up. He's a poster guy. He's not somebody that's sitting on the prelims. He's a poster guy. He's a main card poster guy. So be aware of that. It's going to be one of those situations where we're going to have to be careful. I'm not that interested in him at 205, but I'm glad I got it right. Can never believe in Krylov. Krylov's on one of those monumental declines, and it's going to keep happening. Oh, well, he's injured now. We probably won't see him. He's got to go back to Russia, drink some vodka. We probably won't see him for a while. Oh, my goodness. Next fight. First fight on the main card, King Green and Terrence McKinney. I told you guys go back and watch the video. But Rico, the card says Terrence McKinney. No, it doesn't. It says Terrence McKinney, but in green, it says the only bet to make on this fight, the lock of all locks, is not go the distance. Now, somebody asked, what does NGTD stand for? If you don't know what it stands for, I'm going to highly recommend you don't gamble. I'm going to highly recommend you go learn the ropes a little bit more before you start trying to gamble and you don't know what you're betting on. Because if I use a term or an acronym like NTGD on a document and you don't know what that means, I think you're just in the wrong area and you don't need to do that. And I'm not shaming you. I'm not ridiculing you or belittling you. I'm not insulting your intelligence. I'm telling you that you should become more informed on what you're doing. It's really important. I was in the military for over 20 years. Acronyms are everywhere. And the one thing I would do for the first 2 or 3 weeks is just orientate myself to all these acronyms these guys are using. I need to stop you and ask you. I'll be in a meeting. Hey, use this what does that stand for? And you don't know. Most of the time, those guys don't even know. But I got to know. I can't push forward without it because knowledge is power. So be careful with that if you don't know what I'm trying to tell you guys to do on a particular fight. But something I said in the video very clearly, I said, if you're going to bet on this fight, the only way to make money, I think the best bet to make is King Green to win by knockout. Verbatim said it. And I had an MVP send me a screenshot. I think he won hundreds of dollars. I don't know. He sent me a screenshot. That's exactly what he did. He said, Rico, I heard everything you had to say. Not go the distance was priced out for me, but I heard King Green knockout and I went for it. Congratulations. Now let's talk about the fighters in themselves. Terrence McKinney came out here and dominated. Absolutely dominated for the first 4 minutes and 50 seconds. He's just bullying King Green. King Green's bleeding everywhere. This is one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see. It's a little shady on the comeback side. It looked a little shady. That's how ridiculous it was because nothing really flush landed. They're trying to tell me it was like T-kicks and another strike. Nothing landed too devastating. But Terrence McKinney was gassed. But this guy dominated the entire first round. Dominated with striking. Dominated with some clinch work. Got into the rear mount at one point. The problem is he's squeezing the whole time. He's using every muscle he's got the entire time. And that's a little absurd because you got 3 rounds of fight. And he's never been to the third round. He's never been to the judges in his life. He either wins or doesn't win before the bell ever gets there. Shout out to King Green. I'm not a huge fan, but he outdogged this guy. He looked terrible. He was getting dominated the whole way. He found a way to win. Absolutely terrible in his custom shorts. Next fight, Brandon Royval and Loner Kavanaugh. Shout out to the MVPs. They started reaching out to me early on this, and they started talking about Brandon Royval. Those odds look crazy. He should not be a plus 200 underdog. We like Brandon Royval. And then it was a plus 172 by the time I made the video. But you're right. He shouldn't be. And I talked about that. I said, hey, I think he's a dog, but I also like Loner Kavanaugh. So I'm going to take Loner Kavanaugh, but I don't like his odds. It was minus 240 something, and that's silly. And the only way Lonnie's ever going to win is if we go to scorecards because he's not a finisher. He's a decision merchant. He's a very explosive kid. He looks athletic. He does everything. But he lost. He got his lunch money taken here. He was winning initially. First round looked good. And then Brandon Royval gets off the mat and does his thing. Brandon Royval starts dominating. And it was total destruction and domination in the third. And the kid was exhausted again. And we've seen this kid lose a couple times now because of cardio issues or not having that go-get-it attitude to get out of the mess. And Brandon Royval is just a dog. Just an absolute dog. So congratulations to him. I think I was very clear not to put any money on this. I didn't like the odds where they were, and I didn't like what it was. But if there was MVPs out there who believed in Royval and liked his odds, congratulations, because I know there was some of you guys. You guys reached out to me. I appreciate you. Next fight, Mario Batista and Corey Sandhagen. There was a point taken in this fight, but it didn't matter. It was still a 29-28. Should have been 30-28, right? 30-27 or something like that. Am I tripping right now? Should have been 30. I don't know how it was supposed to go. But was it Batista who lost the point? Am I tripping? Is that the right fight? Yeah, it's Batista. He fought well. He was dominant. I expected it to happen. I told you I'm rocking with Mario Batista because because mi gente, right? He's my people. And and two fighters that I really respect. I think they're both elite fighters. Let's just go with the guy who is the underdog. We'll take the plus money, and it worked out for us. Worked out in our favor. Congratulations. Shout out to Mauro Batista. He looked good. There's nothing new to say about both of these fighters. They're both very good fighters. They control, manage space well, going to throw their combos. They're dogs. They're going to line up, do it again. They're just good fighters. There's nothing else to say. Next fight. Paddy Pimblett and Benoit Saint Denis. You know what's crazy is the height weight before the fight. Benoit Saint Denis is listed as taller and bigger than Paddy Pimblett. Not true. Paddy Pimblett's like 3 inches taller than him. I think Paddy Pimblett's either lying about his height, he's way taller, or something's going on. Paddy Pimblett looked huge. This was over in a blink of an eye. Absolutely over in the blink of an eye. I didn't learn anything other than Paddy Pimblett's still a grappling monster. He's got all the best grip in the world. He did some really nifty things when he latched up that Darce choke, right? It was a Darce choke, but he initially started with a guillotine, a front headlock guillotine, and then it transitioned. And by the time he reached underneath and grabbed his own bicep, but they were rolling. And if you've ever tried to stay control of your opponent or maintain control of your opponent when they're rolling, usually you need one arm over the shoulder, one arm underneath the shoulder, and it keeps positive control of your opponent while they roll, and you got to roll with them. He did all that joint, bro. And then he squeezed like his life depended on it. And you can see him tucking his chin in his neck, and he's squeezing, and it's just, and he curls up, he steps over, curls up in a little ball. And I was watching the fight with my father, and I was like, yo, bro, when this guy steps over and he curls up like that, he's going to just end this guy. He's got to get into a cradle position. Man, it was vicious. And it was over. Benoit Saint Denis, in the biggest moments of his life, you got to remember he's French. That's it. That's the assessment. In the biggest moments of his life, he's French. He's going to leave his neck exposed. He's not going to come through when he needs to. And he just doesn't have that clutch gene. On the other side, Paddy Pimblett, he's got the clutch gene, bro. Yes, he lost to Justin Gaethje. Yep, he lost to the champ. Got worked the whole time. But this kid just looked great. I feel bad I didn't pick him because it was a coin flip fight. I wasn't going to put any money on it, but I just feel bad I didn't pick him. It would have been nice to say I picked him, but I didn't. So it is what it is. Next fight. Oh, main event. What up, MVPs? If you don't know, pre-fight, I talked to all the MVPs. All you guys watching this on a free results show, so you don't know what I'm talking about. But in the pre-fight, I gave a long story about why I would never pick Conor McGregor in this fight. And about how if you do pick him, you're going to be so disappointed and so let down that it reminded me of this time a girl hit me up at 2 a.m. and said, "Can I come over?" And I was like, hell yeah. Oh my God, I'm in. This girl's coming over at 2 a.m. I'm going to get laid. Only to find out that she came over, and while we're having intercourse, it feels really weird. Something feels off. And it turns out she had a condom inside her. So the dude, whoever slept with her earlier in the night, left a condom in her. And she called me up afterwards. Really harsh lesson to learn there is you're not getting lucky, bro. You're taking somebody's leftovers. You're messing with riffraff. You need to make better decisions in life. There's a whole lot of morals to this story. But the same can be applied to anyone betting on Conor McGregor. You need to make better decisions in your life. You need to find better places to put it. This guy is a drug addict. He's a loser. I don't care if he's found God, as he says. Congratulations. I found Harry Potter. It's a book of short stories. Shout out to the Bible. I just don't believe in anything Conor McGregor stands for. Anything he does. The injury is irrelevant. The fact that he came out and was a fraud, and he's irrelevant. He doesn't prepare professionally. He's not an athlete. He's been on steroids and drugs for the last 5 years, and he's openly admitted to it. He had to in a hearing with USADA. He had, not USADA, WADA and USADA, I think. He had this issue where he's a no-show for testing. He avoids tests. He's busy. Can't do that shit. He's a cheater. He's pathetic. And anybody betting on him, and they said all this money was on him, MVPs, when they told me how much money was on him, I got to ask you, how many times in a year do I make a main event a lock? How many times in a year do I make the main event a lock? It is so rare. You can count it on one hand, I'm sure. 47 fight cards, you'll count it on one hand. I don't ever tell you the main event's a lock because I have a lot of respect for who they're usually fighting. Remember, if you make a main event a lock, you're fading one of the best fighters on planet Earth. One of the best fighters in the weight class. If you're trying to say this main event, I know this guy's going to win and it's a lock, you're literally fading one of the better fighters in the world. And it's much easier to do that on a prelim fight because you know the guy he's fighting is a scrub. In the main event, it's never the case. The other guy's not a scrub. But in this particular case, I felt there's such a disparity, such a huge, what I call delta or difference between Max Holloway's pedigree, professionalism, preparation, respect for the fight game, and ability versus Conor McGregor. I don't see the stardom that everybody sees. I don't see the great fighter that everybody talks about. It's not it for me. I think he's a cartoon character, which means he's fake. I think he's a WWE guy. I do not think Conor McGregor's a real fighter, a real MMA fighter of any sort. I promise you. I would have beat him up yesterday. He beat himself up. Showed up doing nonsense. I don't care that he did something acrobatic. Was his knee blown before or after? Did he break it in the locker room? Because I see him throwing kicks in the locker room warm-up. I watched the locker room warm-up. He's doing footwork movements and he's throwing kicks. I think in his process of warming up, he blew out his ACL and didn't tell anyone. Or his MCL. And then he comes out to take his sandals off and get ready to go in the cage. And now he's already compromised. But I think it happened during the warm-ups in the back because you can see him warming up in the back and he looked fine. When you see him go to the cage to walk in, he does not look fine. When he goes out to start the fight, he's a fraud and he does bullshit. But at the end of the day, if you bet on him, you're not fine. You're not okay. You're making poor decisions in life. You need to go check on your wife, bro. She might be with a neighbor. You're doing all the wrong things. I'm just letting you know. We call it a football bat. A soup sandwich. You know what I'm saying? A soup sandwich. Soup and a sandwich don't go together. Football and a bat don't go together. Fruit cake doesn't go together. Shout out to all you fruits out there. Conor McGregor and your money shouldn't go together. There's no amount of money you should ever be betting on Conor McGregor. So, can't get down with him. Congratulations, MVPs. I know some of you guys hit huge, and I couldn't be happier. We'll keep winning. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows football season's coming. Football season's coming. We're going to see all these guys crash out, and we're going to keep winning like we always do. Peace.